Welcome back. This is another Sports Break NBA segment. It's about a month into the season, so we thought we'd take a look at the standings in the Western Conference at least, while the East takes some time to sort itself out. We'll take a look at the West. And although the West has been the dominant conference in recent years, with many players headed to play on one team, many star players kind of congregating on different teams, it looks like the bottom of the Western Conference is kind of thinning out. And there's some spots that seem to be open that in past years were guaranteed to certain teams. We've got the top six probably in the books for the playoffs. The Warriors, the Clippers, and the Spurs. And then the Grizzlies and the Rockets and the Thunder look pretty strong. Like they should make the playoffs. But for 7 and 8, we've got the Jazz, the Trailblazers, the Lakers, the Kings, the Nuggets, and the Pelicans, I'd say, who have an outside chance. Very awful start to the season. But they've been climbing back themselves also. What do you think of that 7 and 8 spot? And we did a segment on the Lakers earlier about how they've exceeded expectations and maybe have a chance at that one of those spots. Do you see them taking one of those spots, or who do you think will take those 7 and 8 spots?
I think they have a legitimate chance to take one of those spots, but can they actually do it? I don't know. I'm going to say Portland and Utah, as it stands right now, are probably the better teams than the Lakers. But if the Lakers can work up some wins, get through this tough schedule with still in striking distance, because right now they're playing a tough stretch. Once they get through that, if they can do it, there's a chance that they, if they're only within a game after this stretch, or a game and a half or 2 games, they could make the playoffs this year.
All right. Well, there's a team that's interesting to me that I always keep an eye on for some reason. I don't know why. The Pelicans. They seem to have Anthony Davis, who's dubbed as a superstar player. Some people would say top 5 player talent-wise.
For sure.
They've got Alvin Gentry in there as head coach.
Well, that's something.
Yeah. They're an up and down team. They've got talent. They made the playoffs 2 years ago before they hired Alvin Gentry. And I always can think that they have the talent to make the playoffs, and they have that star player. What is it about them that makes them struggle these days? Is it the coach? Is it the general management? Do they not surround Anthony Davis with enough players? Do you see him leaving eventually?
Yes, eventually yes, because there's not really that much talent around him. Now, since they got Jrue Holiday back, they've started to rack up a couple wins. They started the season so terrible. It was awful. They were like 0-9, I believe, to start the season. Something dreadful like that. And yes, since he's come back, they've started to win some games, look respectable. And Davis, of course, is a tremendous player. He's always putting up great numbers, but it doesn't seem to be enough to get the team over the hump. Now, yes, I do think coaching is a part of it, because they were better under Monty Williams, who they fired to put Alvin Gentry, which doesn't seem to be a move that made any sense to me whatsoever. But if you're gonna fire a coach, you don't hire Alvin Gentry. But okay, that's neither here nor there. They did, and now you see what happened the last season.
They made the playoffs
under Monty Williams.
Yeah, they fired him after they made the playoffs. I guess they had bigger expectations than that. And Alvin Gentry seems to be a run and gun coach, a la Mike D'Antoni, I guess, and they got famous under the Steve Nash system in Phoenix, and everybody wants to do that after that. The Warriors are successful now.
Right.
They have extreme amount of talent, though. Maybe it doesn't work for every team. But, when a team doesn't seem to have the talent to overrun you, it seems like you should slow the game down and try to minimize the amount of possessions.
Yes, and I think that's what they were doing under Monty Williams. And with Alvin Gentry, I think he's trying to, the fact that he was the Warriors' assistant coach, he's trying to take some of what he learned over there and what he's learned under D'Antoni and play maybe a faster style here. But you're not going to be able to do that. As good as Davis is, you're not going to be able to do that.
Well, he's a big man. He's not a guard.
Right.
If you're centering your team around Davis, maybe you shouldn't center a team around running and gunning.
Absolutely.
The Spurs don't do that. They're successful.
Right.
They have Aldridge. They've had Duncan in the past. They're into big guys, but they don't always running. They didn't change with the NBA in that respect. They still have a very good system that works. Okay, so I guess you'll rule out the Kings and the Nuggets then.
Oh. Those are not even. Yes, absolutely. Those 2 teams do not have a chance.
Well, that's interesting then, because it's basically just 3 teams for 2 spots: the Jazz, the Blazers, and the Lakers.
Yeah.
If the Lakers can keep up the start they've had.
Right.
Remains to be seen. They are an interesting team. It's nice that they're back in the hunt.
Right.
At least their games are interesting as of right now, early in the season.
Yeah.
They could fall out of the playoff picture completely. Who knows? But as of right now, it's an exciting race at the bottom of the Western Conference. Well, that's all for now. We'll take a look at more NBA topics in the near future and more Sports Break NBA segments. Thank you very much. We'll see you later.